things must end. Time will tell my friends if this is great again. Then where did we begin?
I just had so many comments of people saying, I really needed this right now. I needed to hear some music. I needed to know that I'm not the only person going through this. And I continue to get that feedback.
So yeah, you said you committed to doing this every Monday night. Have you kept that up this entire, what is this, 8 months now? 9 months?
Yeah.
How long has this been going on?
I know, it hurts to think about it, right?
It does.
But, oh man. We just did, our stream last night was number 37.
Wow. So you've been doing this consistently.
We've took one week off.
Okay.
All good things must end.
What to do if you're a musician and concerts are canceled worldwide? Beth Bombara turned to something she'd never tried before, a live stream. I'm Sarah Fensky. This is St. Louis on the Air. When the coronavirus was declared a worldwide pandemic, Beth Bombara was among the many, many people who found their lives upended. The St. Louis-based singer-songwriter was suddenly facing canceled gigs not only around town, but also a canceled UK tour that had been planned for April. And this fall, just as things began to open up, everything shut down again. Beth Bombara was supposed to play a socially distant concert at the Pageant last week. Well, rising COVID-19 cases canceled that too. It is not an easy time to be a performer, but this talented musician isn't weeping publicly.
Been holding this inside, trying to keep my head high, breaking down behind the door when I can't hide this anymore. Invisible as air, hoping you still care. It doesn't matter where I go, I only cry when I'm alone. I only cry when I'm alone.
And that is Beth Bombara, I Only Cry When I'm Alone. And joining us today to discuss how she's getting by and the outlet she's found for performing is Beth Bombara. Beth, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So your pageant gig was supposed to be last Friday. That's so hard. When did you learn it was being canceled?
Just really less than a week before. So yeah, it's just hard. We're all trying to do the right thing right now, and it's really hard to know what exactly that is.
Boy, I think that's the one thing we can all stipulate to right now. It's hard to know what the right thing to do is. At the same time,
Yeah.
You've had these amazing opportunities, and then a couple of them have just gotten kind of pulled away at the last minute. Does it feel like you're on a bit of a roller coaster?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to describe how I'm feeling right now, because the hardest thing for me is, all of these gigs get planned well in advance, especially when you're talking about touring, especially overseas. It's like those things, 6 months to a year ahead of time. And so I just don't I don't know when I can start planning for that, when all of these things have to get planned so far in advance. So that's been difficult for sure.
And so for somebody who has this art and you want to share this art, how have you found a way to do that when you can't be on the stage of the pageant, you can't be traveling to the UK?
Yeah, it's been difficult. I mean, a lot of artists have turned to live streaming, and it can be as simple and as complicated as you want the setup to be. I could literally take my cell phone and I could just go to my Facebook page and click go live and just play to my phone. And that gets broadcast to Facebook. Everybody who follows me gets notified that I'm live, and then people can tune in. And but that's the very quick and dirty way to do that. And so when I had a show that was canceled, the first show that that of mine that got canceled was, I think, like March 15th or something like that at the Duck Room. And I was thinking about it, and I said, man, this really sucks, right? And I thought, well, what can I do? I said, well, I can pull out my phone, and instead of playing in person at the Duck Room, I can just play on my phone. So I tested that out, and the response was incredible. And my husband said he's very audio. He's the audio engineer of our family, our band. So he plays with me as well. But so he's like, man, we should do this again next week, and I will set up all the audio, and we can, so it sounds better. It's not just the phone microphone. So we did that, and I said, you know what, I need to commit to doing this every Monday night for my sanity. And just so I have something to do. Yeah.
Had you done these live stream kind of performances even before this pandemic?
Never. I was kind of timid about trying it because I didn't have to. There was, in my mind, it's like, well, I can go play at Old Rock House. I can go on tour. Why do I need to try to figure out how to live stream? It just seems like a lot of work, a lot of hassle.
Yeah.
So I'd never tried it before.
And you say that first one you did, you say it got a really good response. Was that in terms of the quantity of people or just in their reaction to it?
Yeah, there was a lot of people tuning in, and then and they were I could see the comments coming through on my phone, and everybody was just like, think back to that was the very beginning of the pandemic, right after everything got shut down. So everybody's scared and nobody knows what's going on. And we were all kind of experiencing that together. So I just had so many comments of people saying, I really needed this right now. I needed to hear some music. I needed to know that I'm not the only person going through this. So I continue to get that feedback.
So yeah, you said you committed to doing this every Monday night. Have you kept that up this entire, what is this, 8 months now? 9 months?
Yeah.
How long has this been going on?
I know, it hurts to think about it, right?
It does.
But, oh man. We just did, our stream last night was number 37.
Wow. So you've been doing this consistently.
We've took one week off.
Okay.
So,
but every other week you've been there. Has it been some of those same people that are there every week for this?
Yeah, there's started to be a core group of people who tune in every Monday night. And it's fun to see because a lot of them have started talking to each other in the comments and started to kind of get to know each other because they see, oh, I've seen you the past few weeks. Let's, where do you live? Or, so that's been fun for me to see. And yeah, it's just been a super encouraging thing that I never would have thought that first night when I just did it in my kitchen on my phone, that it would have turned into something bigger than that.
Yeah. Do you find yourself now thinking, man, I'm not sure I'd ever want to do this in person again? Are you liking the live stream so much, or is that going way too far?
Well, it's funny you mention that because it's kind of, because I'd never done it before. I didn't really know the potential for it. And that is, I can reach anyone wherever they are. When I go play a show, we all have to be in the same room together. So, and there's something very special about that. And the live stream does not replace that, but it offers a different way to connect with people when we can't all be together. And so one quick instance of that is, I'll ask people where they're tuning in from. And we've gotten, there's somebody in Japan who's been tuning in every week.
Whoa.
And there's a few other people from different countries who are tuning in. And so that couldn't happen.
That's so cool. Yeah. You're building this community that's even bigger than the community you started, which was a very St. Louis community at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. So that aspect of it has just been really encouraging to me. And I don't think... when things open back up, when I can play gigs in person again, I certainly will be doing that. But I will absolutely continue to do the live stream in addition.
So I hate that I always wonder about this, but I can't help it. I'm a practical person. I've always had to pay the rent, and I imagine you do too. How does this work on the financial end? Are people able, or are they willing to contribute in a way that when you're buying a ticket for a concert, you are helping to pay for that artist being there?
Yeah, so I wanted, because of the pandemic and everybody's situation is different, my number one goal is just to share music with people in these crazy, difficult times, because I know that helps uplift people's spirits, and that can be a good thing. So right now it's on tips, or what you might call donation basis. Mm-hmm. So every live stream I do, there's a donation link, and if people are able to, they can send a virtual tip or a virtual donation, and it's very easy. And I found that for now, I believe in that model, and that's how I want to do these live streams. But I could see in the future switching to a model where it was more of like a concert, where you buy a ticket and then you get access to the show. So
there's some possibilities there. This is not a financial wash by any means.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have to say going back to the beginning of the pandemic, nobody knows what's going on. Everybody's like, just scary.
Yeah.
And people have been very generous, and it's allowed me to continue to pay my mortgage. And I feel extremely lucky for that.
We're talking today to artist Beth Bombara, who's having great success with her live stream. You can find that on facebook.com/Beth Bombara. She does it every Monday at 8 p.m. She's only missed 1 week in this whole pandemic, which is something to be proud of. And anytime we have a musician here, we'd be foolish not to play a little more of their music. So you've been doing some really interesting covers, and I want to play your cover. This is a cover of a Beatles classic. And that is Beth Bombara's cover of Revolution. That's such a great song. It feels like there's kind of a political message there. What made you turn to that song in this moment we're in?
Well, long story short, I got asked to, again, beginning of the pandemic, people are trying to figure out how to raise money to help those in need. And I got contacted by someone who was putting together a fundraiser specifically for musicians in St. Louis who needed extra help. And they put together a kind of a covers album from the Beatles' White Album. And so I recorded that specifically for charity. But I felt like that's just the one song that kind of grabbed me right away, that I was like, oh yeah, I really want to sing this song. I feel like there's a lot here that's relevant in the lyrics, and just, you can take the line out of context or whatever, but just singing the words, "It's gonna be all right," for me was just really cathartic. So
that is a great moment, or great song, a great line for this moment that we're in. We all need to hear that.
Yeah, so I wanted to grab onto that and do my own version and share that with everybody.
So tell me this. I mean, you're obviously feeling inspired to perform, and you really have been committed to that. Have you also found yourself inspired by this moment on the songwriting front?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Because I feel like I'm kind of a slow processor when it comes to processing my feelings, and just having a lot of other things to focus on the past, 7 or 8 months. I've been processing a lot of stuff in my head, and I think I'm finally ready to kind of get that out there on the page and demo some new songs out.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's been slow, but I feel like I'm finally there.
It sounds like you almost have to let things marinate before you're ready to turn it into art.
I mean, that is kind of how I work. I've been jealous of other songwriters who, it comes quicker, I suppose. They can just sit down and write a song immediately. And don't get me wrong, like that's happened to me sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But the writing process is so nebulous because there's no formula. There's no set formula. And a lot of times I find that it happens differently for each song. So, yeah.
So for in this moment where you're feeling your creative juices getting revved up and you feel like you're ready to start writing these songs again, are you finding yourself in a hopeful place, that thought of it's going to be all right? Or might this be the dark album that then leads you eventually to the light album?
I think that I am feeling in a more hopeful place. And that's kind of how I generally try to approach life. And so I could see maybe a little bit of both.
And it is, boy, it's a time for that. I do want to bring it back here to the finances. As you mentioned, this White Album covers, this was a benefit for other musicians. Overall, are your fellow musicians hanging in there? I mean, you're one of the more prominent names in the St. Louis scene. The ones that don't have this following you have, are they doing okay?
Yeah, I think it's been a struggle, honestly. And then you could go back to what I was saying, like we're all just trying to figure out what the right thing is. Mm-hmm. And what I've seen a lot is just the unfortunate reality that we need to work. And there have been, smaller places open up that are saying, hey, we want musicians to come and play shows because we need to all be making an income. Mm-hmm. And so I've seen that happen where it's like, okay, there's a bar and they're having a show, and do I want to go work? Do I want to be able to pay my rent this month? The answer is yes, but this is just a really hard situation to navigate. So.
Well, that's some good perspective there, and I hope people will keep that in mind. I know it's kind of easy to sit back in our armchairs for people who have salaries and be like, why isn't everyone staying at home at all times? But there's another side to that. And
yeah, it's a dark reality of the situation for sure.
Well, you're leaving us on a dark note here, but we do want to encourage people. No, it's all good. You can join Beth's live stream. That is a socially distant way to catch this music. This is every Monday at 8 p.m., facebook.com/Beth Bombara. And Beth Bombara, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
And we do want to go out of the show with a little more Beth Bombara. Let's leave everybody today with a bit of Beth's song. This is called All Good Things.
And where did we begin?
And tomorrow on St. Louis on the Air, we'll discuss the science of supply chains. How do suppliers know how much toilet paper your local grocery store needs? And how do those calculations sometimes get upended? We'll also discuss a new protest-inspired book. More reporting from the St. Louis on the Air team is available at stlpublicradio.org. Never miss a conversation by subscribing to our podcast. You can find St. Louis on the Air on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts on the App Store. St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU. Thank you for listening. I'm Sarah Fensky.
If this is great again, then where did we begin?
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.